So we were learning about Sarbanes-Oxley Act in our previous class. So let us continue from there. Now, this act was also called as Public Company Accounting Reform and Investor Protection Act, and it was also called with another name, Corporate and Auditing Accountability, Responsibility and Transparency Act. This was part of United States federal law, which was helping the US public company boards to manage and also be more transparent in whatever business they do. And uh, this act came into force, or it was started they started following that this act from 2002, and it is named after two of the sponsors who actually were, significantly contributed to the act. That was US Senator Paul Sarbanes and US Representative Michael G. Oxley. These were the two people who contributed towards the act, so that is why it is called as Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Now, what is the objective of the act? Okay, so this act was actually brought into force to improve the quality and transparency in the financial reporting. Now, financial reporting consists of all the financial statements and the supporting documents which is required to prove the financial statements. Okay, so in all of these there should be a good quality of the information that has to be given to the shareholders, and also more transparency has to be followed, because the companies cannot keep too much of secrets when it comes to financials. It can keep secrets when it comes to business to an extent, but they cannot do everything in the over secrecy way. Then, independent audit and accounting services for the listed companies. So they wanted to get more independent audit and accounting services from a third party. Now, independent audit and accounting services means, apart from employees of the company doing the accountancy and auditing, they would require, or they had recommendation of getting the third party who is not anywhere related to the company to do the auditing and accounting services for the companies, and especially for the listed companies. Then, creation of Public Accounting Oversight Board. Now, this was a separate board which was established to have a public accounting. Okay, the complete public accounting was taken care by this Public Accounting Oversight Board, and it also encouraged the companies to increase their corporate responsibility. As a company, what can they do for the economy to grow? That will be the corporate responsibility, and that was encouraged by this act. Now, there were many sections that we could see throughout the act. Okay, establishing the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, what is auditors independence and all that. Okay, so here let us understand few of the roles and responsibilities of the act. So as per the cases reported in US, focus on the roles and responsibilities were specifically on these many people, starting with board of directors, management, audit committees, remuneration committees, auditors, financial assist, credit rating agencies. Now, we understood in this that the top level management are the people who has to be more responsible in whatever they are showing to the shareholders or the other part of stakeholders. Now, stakeholders are people who are interested in the company. So, when it comes to the other part of stakeholders, their responsibilities are more to report them everything in a very clear and precise manner, including the credit rating agencies. Now, these credit rating agencies would conduct a research or a survey, and they would rate the companies in certain order or in certain basis. Now, this credit rating would help the shareholders decide which is the best company to invest in, so that their money can grow in a proper way. Okay, so these top level management people are more responsible for getting all their companies' accounts or information audited, and being it in a more transparent way. Then, to understand about few important issues which are highlighted in this act, that is Sarbanes-Oxley Act, let us understand few of the issues. Ensuring effective corporate governance in spite rather than in in spirit rather than in letter. Just in words, if we write that we are doing this work, we are giving charity to this organization, we are giving scholarship to these students, instead of just writing, if we practice that in practical sense, that will give a very strong message to the public or the economy, rather than that we show in the annual accounts. So this act, Sarbanes-Oxley Act, has rules and regulations where it is trying to ensure, where it is trying to make sure that the corporate governance is not only in the letters, but it is actually implemented by the company. Then system of internal control, checks and balances. Now internal control is a system which already checks whatever work is done from time to time. Let us take for example, let's say there is a accounts department. Now in accounts department, there will be a cash department separately located, where any sort of cash that has to be given or that has to be received, that cash department head only should come and do the work. Okay. Now even though accounts department is a big department, in even in that they will have internally controlled few other departments which will help us to get the work done in a simple manner, so that there is no confusions in the work that is done in the company. So a system of internal control always has to be maintained by every company. If there are 4 employees who are working, their work should be checked by their superior. Superior's work will be checked by the other their superior. Like that, a system should be brought into place so that the work is always double verified then and there. So that is the system of internal control. Then, functioning of audit committees. Now, in audit, internal controls plays a major role, because even before audit or auditor checks the complete report, they would first ask, or they would first check if the internal control is in place or not. Okay. Now, I also gave you an example saying, before your final examination, we do certain internal exams, we do certain unit test, which is being conducted by the subject teacher or the class teacher or from the college. That will be the internal control check. Okay. So if the auditor comes to the company, they will check if there is internal control there or not. If the internal control is there, it is easy for the auditors to do their checking, and they can form their committee and do the final round of audit for whatever work that has been done by the company. So that is functioning of audit committees. Then conflict of interest at all levels. Now there will be a little, or you can even say more conflict, because not every person will have the same motive of work. Now auditor's motive of work is to find the fault in the company matters. Has the company gone wrong in some place? That will be the main intention with which the auditor will do the audit. Okay. Now the management will have an intention of doing the work properly and getting more profit. So that is the intention of management. When it comes to regulator, they will also keep checking if the company is able to follow all the rules or not. If they're not following the rules, they can fine them or they can punish them. So the intention of each of their work is different at different levels. So it is very common to have some understanding which will differ, and they are not on the same platform. So that will be conflict of interest at different levels. Then independence of auditors, financial analysts, and related issues such as appointment and fixation of remuneration of auditor, provision of non-audit services. Now, independence of auditors. Now, sometimes auditors after their term will be taken out and a new auditor will be appointed, and few times the auditor will just retire from the job, from the last job whatever they are working, and all this will be taken place in the shareholders meeting. Okay, now all these part are also being highlighted in the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which will give us more in-depth rules about how do you remove a auditor, and how do you appoint a new person. Next, making accounting and auditing effective. See, whatever we do the work, that is one part, but documenting the work is the important part of the organization work. So when we make the accounting part, compliance part, and auditing part effective, if we are able to document everything in a correct manner at precise timing, then and there if we do the work, then it will be more effective for everybody to remember what happened throughout. So if we leave out certain transactions, and if we don't write the certain transactions continuously, then we would forget what was actually happening, and we would try to make up some story and write it. So when it is accounting, especially when the money is involved, then we have to immediately make a note of it and give the value. Then effective compliance and auditing. Now, any rules, compliance is application of rules. Now, any rules, any law, any act for that matter, may it be Companies Act or SEBI Act or FEMA Act, any act for that matter which we are following in the company, has to be taken care and made sure that it has been followed in a proper way and not done half enough. Now, even to have or even to conduct the audit of this, you would have company secretaries in the organization who would do the audit of the Companies Act. Is the company following Companies Act or not? The company secretary would do a audit on it. So that is effective part of compliance and auditing. And the very important point is application of accounting standards in the company's accounts. Now, accounting standards are the rules and regulations given by ICAI in India, that is Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Now, these people give accounting standards, which are standard rules that has to be followed by the company while preparing accounts. In every situation, there can be a problem which can arise and which can confuse everybody, and that is why ICAI has given these accounting standards, okay, which is almost acceptable on global level also, which will help us to solve the problem. So that will be effective compliance of accounting standard. Now you would be learning hire purchase, branch accounts, department accounts, or you would be learning depreciation. I'm sure you would have at least learned depreciation calculation. Now, from where did you get the types of depreciation? Who told you how you should solve the depreciation? The teacher would have taught all that, right? Now, all of these rules and regulations are derived from accounting standards. There are separate accounting standards which talk about how to charge depreciation, to which account it has to go, what are the types, what is the formula, what is the best type to follow. In case there is no information, how do you calculate depreciation? In every possible scenario, the accounting standards have covered the business transactions on a whole. So these are few of the highlights that has been done in this act. Are you all able to follow? Good. Now next is inspection. How the inspection is being done for the firms. Now, under this Sarbanes-Oxley Act, the board has the power to frequently come and inspect the public accounting firm. Now, here we call it as public companies, right? So, in US, they call them as public accounting firms. Now, they can come and inspect these firms from time to time. Periodically means from time to time. So inspection in regard to firm which audits more than 100 companies may be on an annual basis. So at least yearly once they'll have to come and do the inspection. Then this is analogous to the provision of peer review mechanism in India. Peer review mechanism means then and there when we get it checked from the other person. Now we would be working on certain point. Okay. Now if we ask the other person's opinion, they would give a different viewpoint, right? So that is peer review. We are asking the other person to review our work, and that will be utilized here in the inspection. We are just making sure that people will do the checking, double checking in every other stage. Next, the system in India provides for independent review by independent reviewers appointed by the institute and not on firm to firm basis. So what they're trying to say is there is this institute, that is ICAI, which is trying to get the system of independent review. They are trying to give more of the reviews by the institute, the more of the auditors by the institute way, and not from company to company basis. Clear? So that is another inspection. Now, the earlier mechanism in the US proved to be highly inadequate. What happens is if we allow them to do the inspection by themselves, they would do one inspection or the other inspection properly. But apart from that, they would have, or they would change the mechanism of inspection and not do it in a effective way. So that is why there will be a third party from the institute, that is Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, or in the institute there in the US, which gives the accounting standards, that is Accounting Standard Board. Now they can do the inspection. So there is a chance of having a bias. So that is why we are asking the third party to do the inspection. Next, corporate social responsibility for financial reports. Okay. So corporate responsibility for financial reports. Now, what is the responsibility of every company when it is supposed to take care of its business? First of all, the responsibility of every company is to make the company more transparent and, be very sincere in doing their accounts, giving the reports to the public about what is happening inside the company and all that. Okay. So under this act, they are saying that they have to be very clear about filing the reports every quarterly, that is every 3 months they have to file certain reports. Every year they have to give their financial accounts, they have to get the financial accounts audited. Okay, all this has to be utilized. Then the signing officer has reviewed the report. Now before anybody signs the report, they have to check if the report is right or wrong. Okay, the signing officer has to review the report in total. Now anybody who is signing the report blindly, they should never sign. Even if you're putting a signature on any paper, never sign it blindly without studying or without going through the whole contents. So the signing authority has to check what is there in the report and what has to be done. Then the report does not contain any untrue statement or omits a material fact. They have to check if the company is given every statement clearly and is it really true. Okay. And see, there are two mistakes that can happen. One is the company can may give a false report. The second one is the company can hide the fact. They can hide the fact and not show it to the people. So both of them is wrong. They should not give a false statement, neither they should hide any information from the public. So the report should also make sure it is very true and proper. Okay, so that is one of the responsibility of the company with when it comes to financial report. And the financial reports should present a fair view what is actually happening inside the company in terms of monetary, that is in terms of money, that has to be clearly shown in the financial reports. So your the financial reports of the company will include trading account, profit and loss account, income and expenditure account, cash account, debtors, bank account, all possible ledgers which are maintained from the company's side. Then they will prepare balance sheet, and if there is any explanations required, in certain cases they have to give some explanations. All that explanations will be included in the financial reports. So all of these together are called as financial reports. Okay. Next, such officers also have been made responsible for establishing and maintaining internal controls. So internal controls is something like this: in a accounts department, if one person is handling the signature of cash, now if anybody wants cash, they have to go to that particular person only. Now if that person has signed on something, that has to be checked by the head of the finance department. Now a person who is responsible for cash may sign the uh, letter, and he will say okay, but then before, even after signing, there will be more than one signature which will be required for the permission. Now the final person who signs will have to double check if they have really signed and if they are okay with doing it. Now why they are supposed to do all this? Because it is public money which is being used into the business. It may be the loan taken from the bank that has been used into the business, so they should not misuse the money at any point of time. That is the main reason why they will have so much of internal controls and internal check which has to be commenced for at every stage of the financial part of the company. Then they are also required to disclose to disclose to auditors and audit committee any fraud that involves management and other employees. If suppose anybody wants to take the money from the company and without informing to the auditors, okay, if they don't want to inform to the auditor saying that they are supposed to get this particular money or this particular amount or anything as such, then that is not true thing, or that is not ethical. So in that scenario they are supposed to report that to the other people and make sure that it is taken care of and there is no fraud which will be conducted. Fine. So that is the next corporate responsibility of a financial report. Okay, I hope you're all able to follow. Any doubts until here? Now, moving further is the benefits of Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Now, what is the use of having this act? Now, we have understood who is the top management, who will be the director, what will the director do, and what are types of directors, company secretaries, chairmen. We have understood so much about them. So, to make sure that these people work properly in the company and they don't cheat anybody or they don't do fraud in the company, that is why so many acts are being included and so many acts are supportingly giving more rules and regulations to be followed. Now let us see how it is useful to the investors and how it is useful to the company. Now, firstly, to the investors. Now, if they are following this act, Sarbanes-Oxley Act, the companies will have to reveal poor financial reporting practices that should be stopped. So the investors will be having a complete knowledge, or investors will be able to understand this company is actually being very transparent and honest in their financials of the company, or are they lying at any point of time, so that they will easily get to know. And then more trust in financial statements of any company before deciding on any investment. So first they will have to check the financial statements of the company before putting money into the company, and they will make sure that everything is right or wrong. If the investors feel that it is not right to invest in the company, they will not invest. So these financial reports and financial statements will give a fair idea if the investors has to really put the money into the company or they should not. So that is the best benefit from this act, so that they'll be able to understand what is the real picture of the company. Okay. Now coming to the benefits of act to the companies. Now for companies, it will help them to consolidate the data, it will help them to reduce the data into a proper format and store it in whatever format that is required. Then benefits from ability to find data and create reports, business intelligence. Now no matter how many accounts you prepare, okay, you should be in a situation to explain and bring it to a simple format for people to understand, right? So we have to explain the shareholders that, see, this is the profit, this is the sales, this is the volume of profit that has happened. Okay, so we are able to include your money and work in a very good way, so that we can give you the profit. If you explain what is required, the shareholder will also be happy about it. And what can be the side effect of it? Discovery of internal fraud. Now, if they follow this act, they will be able to identify if anybody is doing fraud in the organization, or if they are trying to take away money from the company. So in those cases, they can put more rules and regulations so that they cannot take the internal money from the organization. And in return, the investors will try to trust the company more, because everything is more transparent. They have tight rules. They are able to give the data in a required format, and the data is also true. So the shareholder will be very positive towards the organization, and the value of the shareholder will also increase. Okay, so this is Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Did you all understand? Any doubts until here? Now next, coming to the Naresh Chandra committee report. So the two reports that we saw, the Cadbury committee report and Sarbanes-Oxley Act, those two are the reports or the committees which were done by other countries. One was from UK, the other one was from US. Now coming to Indian committees, there was a committee which was formed called as Naresh Chandra committee in 2002 only, and they gave observations of the corporate governance and few recommendations. Okay, let us see what are that. Now firstly, what are the major recommendations that came out under this act are: auditor company relationship. Now there will be a auditor is a chartered accountant. Okay, now there will be an auditor and there is a company. Now how these two will work together, and what are the rules that both of them has to follow? Okay, so that is auditor company relationship. Now in auditor company relationship, one auditor can work in a company for only 5 years. Even if it's an auditor or a auditor firm, they can work in a company for 5 years. After 5 years they should work in some other company. They cannot work in the same company for too many years. Okay, why that rule came? So that the auditor, if the auditor knows about the company too much, then also it is little dangerous, because the auditor can have connections with the company people and can allow to get into the fraud. So that is why the auditors will have to keep changing from one to another. Then auditing the auditors. Now here auditing the auditors means, in a company you will have a auditor, the auditing department separately. Okay, like how you have accounts department, production department, similarly, you will have a auditing department. Excuse me. Now how you have accounting department and production department, you will also have an auditing department. Now this auditing department will have a team of chartered accountants who will do the auditing inside the company. So first round of checking of everything will be done by the internal auditors. Okay, now the final round of checking will be done by the independent auditors. Now who are these independent auditors? These are people who come from outside. Okay, they will not have any relationship with the company. They're just there as the third party who will come and audit all the papers. So auditing the auditors, they are checking the auditors work. These are the auditors who will check the other auditors work. So that is auditing the auditors. Okay, this is very important in a organization. Then independent directors. Now independent directors are people who are not influenced by the management of the company. Okay, nobody will listen to the management of the company. They will guide the company in such a way where they are not biased, there is no favoritism. Okay, they are not towards anybody. They will only analyze the situation and they will give you their opinion which has to be implemented. So that will be independent auditors. So these independent auditors will not take care of day-to-day activities, but when it comes to rules and regulations, when it comes to other important parts of the company which has to be framed, in those times they'll call these independent auditors for discussion. And there are some more other recommendations. Okay, now let us understand few of them in detail. Now, auditor and company relationship, we understood that certification of annual audited accounts by CEO and CFO. Now, every year, if you see the accounts of the company, it will be signed by the director. Okay, it will be signed by the CEO and it will also be signed by the CFO. Now, we know who is a CFO, Chief Financial Officer. Okay, so CFO is a person who will be heading the finance department and he will be checking everything in detail which is required to be done. So the company and auditor relationship should be on a very strict basis. Then auditing the auditors, we understood the system, how the auditors has to be audited. Now they have to set up an independent quality review board. Now what is this QRB? Now, as per ICAI or as per the institutes, they will have one board which has been set up where this board will check the quality of the data that has been given to the people. Okay, so this committee or this board can have people who are part of ICAI, ICSI, and CMA. That is, ICWAI is CMA. They can be a CA, they can be a CS, or they can be a CMA, who can be part of these committee or the board, and who can help us to understand if the accounts are correct, or if the accounts are being made up, are they telling lie in the accounts of the company or not. Okay, it seems a little complicated, but then the businesses has to work in a very big way. It's not that uh, 1 lakh rupees or 10 lakh rupees that we see sometimes. Okay, it will go on to more than crores, 2000 crores, 5000 crores, 10,000 crores, 1 lakh crores. It will be such huge money which will be involved in the companies and the business, so they have to be very careful about what they are trying to do in the company. So this quality review board, which is independent, which will give us or which will say us that if whatever information is given by the company, is it sufficient? Do you require more information? Are they doing it in the right way or not? Okay, so that is setting up of independent quality review board. Now, proposed disciplinary mechanism for the auditors. Now, before I go to this, any doubts until here? Are you all able to follow? Any doubts? Okay, good. Now, proposed disciplinary mechanism for the auditors. Now, if auditors only does the fraud, now auditors are the people who check if others do the fraud. Now, if auditors only are doing the fraud, then what to do? Then in such cases, they will form a disciplinary committee by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, because a chartered accountant is a special person in the organization who will be checking everything A to Z if it is going properly or not. Now, if that chartered accountant only if is into the if is into any other problem, then they will form a disciplinary committee, and then they will have to uh, make sure that the auditor or that particular person is being punished, and they will take care of them. Okay, so the effect of such issues are very, very severe, because it involves the whole lot of money from the public. So the effects are too much, so you have to be very careful when dealing with such parts. Okay, then independent auditors, we understood that these people are